Hello there and welcome to another edition of the Holiday and Cruise Clinic, the only programme on television that's purely dedicated to answering your holiday, cruise and travel related questions. So if you have a question, a query or a dilemma about a trip, a cruise or a holiday, here's how to get in touch with us. If you go to our website, which is www.holidayandcruisechannel.co.uk, you can go to the clinic page. We have our own page there where you can send us your questions to us online through the website. You can also email us directly. The email address is clinic@holidayandcruisechannel.co.uk, or you can write to us by post as well to the Holiday and Cruise Channel, Cavendish House, Brighton Road, Liverpool, L22 5NG. Now we're talking about Fort Lauderdale, a fantastic holiday destination where warmth and relaxation await you as you discover a casual world filled with mega yachts, alfresco dining, outlet shopping, natural wonders, arts and a whole lot more. Better still, a destination that's within easy reach of almost everybody's budget. It's famous for its beaches, of course, arts, culture and events, from shopping on Las Olas Boulevard to gondola rides on the canals to a historic riverfront. Fort Lauderdale makes for an exciting Floridian holiday, and I'm delighted to be joined now by Alfredo Gonzalez from Greater Fort Lauderdale. Alfredo, welcome along to the program.
Thank you, Phil. Happy to be here.
It's a fantastic place that you live and are here to tell us all about. I mean, you've got a great job, haven't you?
I can't complain. It's like living in paradise, and much to the dislike of my friends that happen to live in places that don't have such the incredible weather.
Well, there's plenty we can get to grips with over the next few minutes with you, and we don't have an awful lot of time to talk about what is a fantastic place. Okay. But many of our viewers may be familiar with going to Orlando, for example, to Disney, right, or a Florida holiday, because the weather's pretty good all year, isn't it?
Right. Well, yeah, we have year-round weather, and that is probably one of the things, the compelling offers that brings most of our clients over. But yeah, it's Fort Lauderdale is no longer that stop on a highway between the old Miami to Orlando or to do the parks. I think that Fort Lauderdale has actually, Greater Fort Lauderdale has become a huge part of the whole Florida offer, and families will still go to the parks. The kids want to see the Mickey Mouse and so forth, but I think they're looking for something else, and I think Greater Fort Lauderdale offers that something else.
Because you've got to be, you've got a lot of competition in Florida, haven't you, for attracting people who may only take a couple of weeks a year, right, in your state. So how do you then say, what does Fort Lauderdale have to offer? What can I do to win people, right, to come here?
Well, Phil, I think that the thing to have in mind is that especially this market that knows Florida so well, they'll feel very comfortable in flying into one of the main entry cities, getting in a car, and really exploring the great things that the state has to offer. And like I said before, Fort Lauderdale now offers some of those things that especially the UK market is looking for. They're looking for, like you mentioned, the great dining. They're looking the great shopping, and there are some elements that are actually changing the whole dynamics of Fort Lauderdale with changes like in the cruise markets.
Now we can. As British, I think we're probably getting a little bit more discerning, I think, aren't we, as time goes on? There was a time when just a nice beach would have been great and a bit of nice weather, but we want a little bit more now. But you've got plenty from my introduction that I was telling you people about that you can offer. Just give us a little one-stop tour.
Well, I mean, you mentioned real quick, like Las Olas. Las Olas has really become, it's like our main highway, the main street USA for us. It's Las Olas in downtown Fort Lauderdale, which offers great dining. I mean, people now can walk down the street, go to a cafe, go to a gallery, just have a casual drink outside. And you mentioned the alfresco element is huge, because I would say that at least half of the restaurants or eating establishments in Greater Fort Lauderdale have outdoor dining, and outdoor dining all year round, and I think that's a huge plus.
Yeah, I'm very jealous about that, absolutely. Can you fly directly there from the UK?
Well, not right now. We don't have the non-stop service. We are working on it. But right now, most of our clients will come in through the Miami International Airport, which is really just 40 minutes away from airport to airport. So it actually is quite convenient to get in through Miami.
Because it's not a bad idea really to have a car if you're going to fly to Florida or America generally, because you guys don't walk, do you? You drive.
I think someone from here actually said once that the car, where the car is king in the U.S., and it's so easy really to get around. Our highways are very well numbered and lit, and it's very easy to get around. So the getting lost by renting a car, hiring a car, is never been a problem.
You haven't been driving on the wrong side of the road while you've been in the UK then, have you?
We'll get a couple that actually get off, and a couple of honks from the area. They'll put them on the right side.
The type of hotels then that the hotel standard generally in America is pretty good. You've got a huge range from very expensive to budget, which is still pretty well appointed. Is that the same in Fort Lauderdale? Pretty
much. I think we in the greater Fort Lauderdale area, we have about over 560 plus hotels. It's about 32,000 hotel rooms. And you can find just anything you need. You'll have your economy, your budgets, your limited service, all the way to your very luxury hotels, which has been one of the biggest changes in the whole infrastructure of hotels in Fort Lauderdale, has been the addition of these gorgeous luxury properties like the Ritz-Carlton, the W, and with their spas and the things that come along with it.
Is it a lot of new buildings then, a lot of regeneration, or does any of the 1930s influence from Miami spill over into Fort Lauderdale?
Not really. I think that one of the things that changed in our area and over the last 10 years was actually the change of some of these older properties on the beach to these great hotels. But it doesn't say that it's unreachable pricing for these hotels. We have we have great pricing even on the beach. But yes, most of the Fort Lauderdale side beach did change. Probably one of the most dramatic changes in the skyline has been these beautiful properties that built all the way from South Fort Lauderdale Beach actually to the North Fort Lauderdale Beach. It's quite impressive.
And general safety and beach safety and things like that. How safe is it to go swimming, for example? I mean, the water is beautiful, isn't it? Warm. It's very inviting. But is it perfectly safe?
Oh yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we pride on is actually the security of our tourists. We want to make sure that your experience from buying and going shopping, making sure that what you buy actually gets home with you. That's one. We actually police our beaches and police the area very well. We have, it won't be unusual to see one of our officers on rollerblades or on a bicycle or on horseback. So, and these are more like tourism ambassadors than actually cops, police officers, because they do understand that without the tourism, without the tourists, we're really nothing. So I think our law enforcement agencies embrace this idea just as we do, that we want to make people feel welcome, but also feel safe.
And you think that also applies to the downtown area as well? We can walk around quite happily, being safe?
Absolutely. One of the things I mentioned before, that the greater Fort Lauderdale has changed so much in the last really 10 years. One of the things that back then, it was a business center, and people would actually leave at 5 o'clock. There was really not a lot to do in downtown Fort Lauderdale. That has changed dramatically. I think one of the biggest draws now is people that want to come to Fort Lauderdale day and night. We have a beautiful hotel downtown Fort Lauderdale, the Riverside Hotel, which is actually a historical site. But at the same time, it's a great draw for people. It's got a great restaurant. It's got a great bar. It's right on Las Olas. People can sit in front and have a drink, and people do the things we do when we go out there.
You must have been copying the UK there, because that's one thing we've done a lot of in this country, is make use of our city centres, whether they have a waterfront there or something like that, and making sure people at 5 o'clock don't go home and abandon the place.
Right, and it does, Greater Fort Lauderdale lends itself to that, because if you don't have an infrastructure of restaurants or cafes or great parking or things like that, then it makes it difficult to actually enjoy your downtown. No, our downtown did change dramatically, and that means there's more parking, and there's easier ways to get around. You actually can take the Sun Trolley and it's free. And you can take the sun trolley from all of Las Olas down to the beach and back, and it's a free service. So it really encourages people to come back and enjoy what has to offer, what's been offered right there in the city.
Okay, well, this is the Holiday and Cruise Clinic. As you know, we're very keen to talk about cruising on this program, and you can cruise from Fort Lauderdale, can't you?
Well, I guess you can cruise from one of the largest ports in the world. Port Everglades has really changed the whole greater Fort Lauderdale idea, with actually being one of the biggest in the volume of passengers. The other has been the addition, really, of the Oasis of the Seas and the Allure of the Seas, which actually have year-round service out of Port Everglades Saturdays and Sundays. And I'm sure this program knows well that these are the largest cruise ships in the world. You know, maximum capacity per cruise ship is almost, I think it's almost 6,000 passengers. So when you look at that volume of people that are taking these cruises year-round out of Fort Lauderdale, it's been in the best interest, not only the cruise line, but also the airlines and everybody, to kind of tell them, you know, your cruise is out of Fort Lauderdale and Port Everglades, and what are the things that you can do, and the pre and post cruise
I was just going to say, because it's a great place to actually have a bit of R&R after your long flight, stay in Fort Lauderdale for a while, then get on your cruise and go, and maybe a bit at the end as well.
Absolutely, and a lot of people have realized that this area is really great for shopping, but people don't really want to go shopping before you go on a cruise. You want to do that afterwards. And with Sawgrass Mills, which is one of the largest shopping outlets in the country, people are starting to hear about this, and they do want to take their comfortable 7-day cruise and then spend a couple of days and get their retail therapy after that.
Okay. Sit tight there for a moment, Alfredo, because there's lots more I want to ask you about Fort Lauderdale, but I need to tell you about our handy cruise guide. If you're going from Fort Lauderdale or anywhere else, if you have some questions, they're all in here that you'll want to know about if you've never been cruising before. Absolutely free of charge. All you have to do to get a copy of it is call us on 0871 423 4444. Calls will cost you 10p a minute from a BT landline, but calls from networks, other networks and mobiles may, of course, vary. The best thing to do is go to our website, www.holidayandcruisechannel.co.uk, and click on requesting a copy through the website and have a look at a few other things that we're doing as well. So while you're doing that, Alfredo and myself will take a quick break. See you back here in a few moments' time. Hello there, welcome back to the Holiday and Cruise Clinic. Today we're talking about having a holiday in Fort Lauderdale, and Alfredo Gonzalez, who's representing the wonderful area of Fort Lauderdale, is with us. As I say, you've got a fantastic job. The average temperature in Fort Lauderdale, for example, is?
Well, today, let's see, in Fahrenheit would be a good 85 degrees.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think we still remember when we used to say that kind of temperature in this country as well. That was probably about when it last happened, I would imagine. But that's fantastic to know. So we can get some pretty well guaranteed sunshine when we go there.
Yeah,
and
it's beautiful.
My experience of Fort Lauderdale, it was marketed as somewhere, you know, quite exclusive. Very nice people, successful people, tennis players would live there, and it was very smart, relaxed, and quiet compared to the hustle and bustle of Miami. That's still a little bit like that, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. I think we have our share of our celebrities that live in the area, and from all sides. I mean, you have the movie stars and you have the athletes, but it's not a paparazzi city, and I think that's one of the things that the celebrities want, and people live very well with it. But it's not as exclusive as almost like as you say. Actually, I think it's an area for everybody. You see a lot of families, you see a lot of kids, you see a lot of bicycles, you see a lot of activity, and it's not just the hustle and bustle of the nightclub scene. It's actually a lot of daytime things, a lot of enjoying the area, and
a lot of yachts.
Oh, we have the eye candy. Yeah, well, it's on my list. Yeah, the yachts, they're beautiful. We're actually we have one yacht registered for every 5 people in Greater Fort Lauderdale. I've added my name to the list to be one of those.
Okay.
I'll put your name on the list.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we have a lot of beautiful yachts with parked right in front of their beautiful mansions.
So that's that you can imagine that's a great outdoor activity for people who live there.
It's huge. I mean, our nickname is actually the Venice of America. We actually have more navigable waterways than probably Venice. Actually, it's easier sometimes to get around by our water taxi or by your private boat or yacht than it is to get around by car.
But we're not going to bump into alligators, are we, while we're moving around?
You might. There's a chance you might see a little gator or two.
Yeah.
I think that's more of an Everglades thing that you will see. Our Everglades, which is actually the entire west side of Greater Fort Lauderdale, is this beautiful sea of grass, which is the Everglades. And the main resident of the Everglades is Mr. Gator and his friends.
Okay, well, we'll keep them over there.
Leave them
We
over
can
there.
go and see them and find and know that they're there and not anywhere else.
Get on a little airboat ride. You can look from above and say, hey, nice to see you
Absolutely.
there.
Yeah, quite. So being the well-connected man you are in charge of promoting Fort Lauderdale around the world, you're obviously well connected with a few famous people, are you, in your adopted home city?
Well, you know what? My adopted family is really the travel industry, and I'm happy to be very well connected to most of our hotels and our hoteliers. Those really are the people that make Greater Fort Lauderdale what it is, and I think in my mind, those are our celebrities, our great general managers, our great directors of sales, and really at the end of the day, the line people that work in these hotels. I mean, your front desk clerks, your bellmen, your doormen, that are really greeting the people who come in. Those to me are the celebrities. Those are the people that make my job easier.
But you guys are always very good at customer service though and looking after people. We've got a lot to learn in this country about what you can do for people.
Well, remember, if we don't have the tourists, we don't have anything else. We don't make cars in Greater Fort Lauderdale. We don't have giant industrial plants. What we have is 23 miles of beautiful beaches. We have these gorgeous canals. We have fine dining, fine shopping. So, and this is really designed to improve the life of the residents, but by giving the tourists something that they can remember when they take back home. So yeah, tourists, we love them, you know, we want to take care of them, and the only way to take care of them really is with really exceptional service.
Sure. Now, I always like to ask a couple of personal questions of my guests on this program. So it's your turn now as the spotlight comes on you a little bit. You've had quite a bit of experience in the travel industry, haven't you, Alfredo?
Yeah, I was very lucky. Right after I left university, I got a job at a hotel, and once
so you've been that clerk, have you? You've been that person on reception?
I was at the front desk. Yeah, I was there with a hotel in Orlando, Florida, and that's where I got probably a lot of my customer service experience. But I was lucky enough to be able to work in different areas. I worked for the cruise lines. I worked for the car rental agencies. I was actually a tour operator for a couple of years until about 14 years ago. I got asked by the Broward County, Greater Fort Lauderdale, to join them in their tourism division.
Wow, and where are you going now to promote Fort Lauderdale then? You're obviously in the UK now, but where else have you been?
Everywhere. Yeah, I'm in charge of global sales, so, and you know, the world is actually getting smaller and smaller. These days, you know, we're everywhere. It was a huge market out of South America and Latin America. Europe has been one of our main clients, but as we look at emerging markets, I've been to China, and there's things popping up left and right. So you never know. I mean, maybe I'll have it, where is Alfredo Gonzalez somewhere? At least that's what my family always asks.
Well, yeah, but that's what social media is for, isn't it? So people can find out about these things. Interesting you say that the world is getting smaller. I think you're absolutely right, but therefore presumably more competitive because people can go and spend their dollar or their pound elsewhere.
Absolutely, and that's where the key factors come in. And what are these people looking? Since there's so many choices out there. I mean, there's beautiful beaches all over the world. There's fine dining, fine shopping everywhere. But you have to throw in elements that people will recognize, and then they don't leave with this experience. They need to leave with an experience that the money that they spent was worth it. And today, if it isn't with service, with a smile, or service with something to remember, people will go to the next destination. And we hope that at Greater Fort Lauderdale, when people do leave, they go, wow, that was great, and they were so nice, and we can't wait to tell somebody else. That's what we really want to push, is people, basically a holiday is a reward, and we hope to be able to be part of that reward. Okay,
well, it's a necessary evil, but let's get the paperwork side of things out of the way. What do we need to do to have a holiday in America from a UK point of view?
Well, I mean, on paper, really, there is almost no paper. I mean, the only thing you really need, I mean, we have open skies agreements, we have visa waivers. I mean, several areas in the UK. I was in Dublin this weekend. People are pre-cleared at the airport. So basically, you land in the States as a domestic flight. So I don't even know how you can actually make it easier than it is. Right now, all you need to look, maybe not today, look outside the window, and I think that's your compelling offer too.
Well, it is. It is. You know, you don't have to convince us too much of that. But sometimes the queues are a little bit long at arriving in America, aren't they? You know, you're very good at your local people who are Americans, but the rest of us have to queue for hours sometimes.
It's getting better, and I think it's getting better in the main points of entry in the U.S. You know, your New Yorks, your Miamis, the other big cities. They've added personnel, and that, you know, that's a whole drive of the government with the TSAs and all the security. I mean, you still want to have a safe country, but by the same token, you also want to offer a good experience, and that entry into the country is the first experience. And so I would say that yes, maybe historically, but the country, the government is doing a lot. Brand USA, the new initiative from the government to really promote the U.S. as a travel destination, includes that service level that the airports have to offer our visitors when they're coming in.
Do you think then there's a lot to be said for flying and arriving at a big international airport because the processing power for you to get through and out and into your hire car is better than a regional airport then?
Well, the experience. I mean, if you've flown 8 hours and you have mom, dad, the kids and everything, you don't want to have the first experience to be a negative because that's what's going to stick in your mind. Now, if you come in, and I think a lot of airports and their marketing departments and their public relations departments are doing a lot around the U.S. to make people understand that they're not being mistreated. They don't want to be mistreated. They just want to be safe, and a safe environment is what everybody's looking for. But I think it's baby steps. I think we're going in the right direction, and the right direction eventually will be that seamless experience when you land on your great flying experience from the UK, get into the US, and you can actually get out there quick, fast, safe, and say, I'm here, I'm ready to spend, I'm ready to have fun, enjoy the weather.
Good. Well, yeah, we'll enjoy the weather. Don't worry about that. Let me just talk briefly about cash, because it used to be the case where we get a lot of dollars for our money if we went and have a great holiday there. What's it like at the moment? And all this investment in must be costing money. So price has gone up then in Fort Lauderdale.
No, actually, our pricing in our hotels has actually gone down. We are happy to say that the levels of visitors has, especially from the UK, pretty much remained the same. We've had some markets that have gone through the roof. Brazil has been amazing. They've doubled and tripled their visitation to the US. But the UK has remained the same in visitation and money spent. So that means that even through the good, the bad, and the ugly of the last couple of years of the economy, one thing that remained constant was actually our numbers from the UK. But the product itself is actually better priced now than it was 3 years ago.
Okay, brilliant. Alfredo, thank you very much indeed
welcome,
for talking
Phil.
to us about Fort Lauderdale. Wouldn't it be nice to come and visit you sometime, and we'll look you up when we're there?
Well, we do have an open invitation, so bring the cameras when we'll show you around.
Okay. Perfect.
Thanks, Phil.
See you on the next flight.
You got it.
Just a quick reminder about our first-time guide to cruise holidays, whether you're going from Fort Lauderdale or anywhere else in the world. If you want a copy, remember, all you have to do, give us a quick call here at the Holiday and Cruise channel, 0871 423 4444. Calls will cost you 10p a minute from a BT landline, and calls from other networks and mobiles may, of course, vary. Request a copy through our website is one of the better ways of doing it, www.holidayandcruisechannel.co.uk. Well, that's all we have time for on today's edition of the Holiday and Cruise Clinic. My thanks again to Alfredo Gonzalez from the greater Fort Lauderdale area. Most of all, thanks to you for watching. Enjoy your holiday. See you again next time.